Hey everyone, so last week Funko posted photos on their social media giving us our first look at their upcoming wave of pop figures based off of the very popular Netflix show Squid Game. So of course, just like seemingly everyone else on the planet, I have watched Squid Game. I started watching it about 3 weeks ago and I finished it last week. It surely was an excellent show, actually one of the best I've ever watched, so if you haven't checked it out yet, I'd totally recommend it. You can go watch it right now on Netflix. So having had watched the show, it was truly a delight to have seen that Funko had already jumped onto it and made pop figures of the characters from it. It seriously was surprising, especially considering the fact that the show literally did just come out in mid-September of this year. So I think it'd be cool to do a video going over each one of the 8 figures in which have been currently announced and go through my thoughts on each of them. Now, before going forward, I must warn you, there will be a lot of spoilers for Squid Game in this video. I will be talking about a lot of the scenes and some of the key moments of the show, so if you haven't watched it yet, I wouldn't recommend watching this video unless you want some of the key moments to be spoiled. To start off, let's talk about the 6 common pops. These are the non-exclusive ones. These are the 6 that are going to be released everywhere, Walmart, GameStop, etc., where all the usual releases are for Funko Pops. So these include Gi Hun, Sae Byeok, Sang-woo, Ali, one of the guards, staff members, whatever you want to call them, and Il Nam. Apologies if I pronounced any of those names wrong. Alright, so to start off, we're going to go from the top left, that being Gi Hun. What a fitting way to start, the main man himself, the one that they'd been developing from the very beginning, also the one who won Squid Game, and won all that sweet cash. Of all of the 456 players in Squid Game, Gi Hun was the one I was rooting for the most. And since he was the character that was being developed the most since the very beginning of the show, I already kind of knew that he was going to win, so it didn't come off as much of a surprise when he was the winner at the very end. Anyhow, about the actual pop figure, so yes, I actually do think it looks really good. Of course, it's going with a traditional Funko Pop style, that being the black eyes and the lack of the mouth. Well, actually, if you look at the beard, if you look in the bottom, that actually does kind of look like a smile, but I do think it is just meant to be the beard, because, Gi Hun has a beard, and also none of the other characters in the line have mouths, and traditional Funko Pop human characters, they usually lack the mouth. So of course he's got the iconic, Squid Game suit on, and the 456, which is the number of player he is. Now something that's really cool actually is that he's holding the, umbrella cutout honeycomb, which is really cool, referencing, game 2 of Squid Game, where Gi Hun selected the umbrella. Now, something that I'd actually love to see, which I think would be a really good idea. So, if you know Funko Pops, you'd know that some Pops, there are chase versions, which are like you have a 1 in 6 chance, and you get the chase version. What I think would be really nice is for Gi Hun to have the chase version of him with the red hair, because if you remember, in the last episode of Squid Game, after he wins, he dyes his hair red. So, that'll be really cool to see, possibly a chase version where he has red hair. That'll be actually a really cool idea, in my opinion. So yeah, very good and accurate looking Funko Pop. Let's not talk anymore and move on. So second, we've got Sae Byeok. So again, it's a very nice pop, good details, even got some cool details on there such as the freckles as well. A different sculpt, which is nice. I'm glad that they've done different body sculpts for each of the figures, not just the exact same body, the exact same body sculpt with just a different number on it. It's cool that they did different poses for each of them. So yeah, again, not much complaints here, actually really no complaints at all. You can actually see she is slightly smaller when compared to Gi Hun and Sang-woo beside her there. So speaking of Sang-woo, let's move on to him. So let's take a look at Sang-woo, aka player number 218. So again, another great looking pop here. You've got, of course, the facial hair. And now this one has got a different sculpt again. Now, he doesn't have any shoes on, whilst the other ones do for some reason. He also got his eyebrows in a way that makes him look angry. He's also got, the bib thingy on that says 14. This is obviously referencing the 5th game, which is the glass-breaking bridge one. You had 16 remaining players, and he was player 14 for that game. It's a really neat detail to add, but I do think it's a little bit random, he's the only one that has that bib on, whilst the other ones don't, so it just looks a little different, but I can see why, because they're trying to add as much variety to each of them as possible. Towards the beginning, Sang-woo was probably one of my favourite characters, but then when it got to, the marble minigame and whatnot, whenever he started to, manipulate the kindness of Ali and whatnot, I kind of but then again, at the same time, that's how it works, you gotta be selfish if you want to win. He was left with no other choice than to either have both of them die, him die, or his, teammate die. But yeah, Sangui had some very, very cool scenes, especially the final game, you know, where it was Squid Game and it was Gi Hun and Sangui on a 1v1 in ultimate battle. That was a really good scene there. Alright, so down in the bottom left, we've got Ali. I'm sure a lot of us liked him. I'm sure most people liked him. I did as well. You know, he was the innocent and very kind player. Again, it's a great looking pop. Really no complaints here, to be honest. Ali was probably one of my favorite characters in Squid Game. I really liked him. It was sad to see him go. Alright, so up next, we've got one of the guards slash staff member, whatever the hell you want to call him. So I'm sure you've all seen this guy, you know. He's basically like one of the first things that might come to your head whenever you think of Squid Game. It's very iconic and very well known, you know, suit design there. So again, it's very, very detailed and very high quality. It is actually really detailed. Like, they didn't just get like a pure black surface for the mask. Like, you can see it's got all the bumps on there and the lines and whatnot. It's very detailed as well. And like, every single one of the figures have all the creases on their, you know, jackets and trousers and whatnot. So just add the details to it, you know. So up there we've got the guard. Now, as I'm going to look at very soon, there are also two Walmart exclusive versions of the guard. And it's the Triangle and Square mask ones. Alright, so moving on to the last non-exclusive of the set, that being Nam. Like hell, the madman himself. Towards the beginning, he was like one of my favorite characters, but like things really escalated quickly when it got to the ending for sure. Like man, that was a crazy ending though. I still can't wrap my head around it. You know, he was the man behind it all. What the fuck? See, Nam was a character that I really liked towards the beginning, and then when it came to the end, I was just kind of like, you know, you son of a bitch. I mean, I still do like him, but just not as much as I did at the beginning. And of course, as many of you probably know by now, if you go back and watch Squid Game, knowing this in mind, you know, knowing at the ending, there's a bunch of hints sprinkled throughout it, like, you know, that kind of like show evidence that he's behind it and that he's not like properly being targeted. Like, for example, in the red light, green light one, the doll isn't even tracking his motion. Needless to say, however, it is still a very good pop as well. I think all the pops are actually really good. There really isn't much complaints here because, you know, they're simple enough to make into, you know, pop figures. They're not very complicated, so there's not much to criticize at all, really. But, yeah, you see his face got nice details on there, like the wrinkles and whatnot, like the mustache, you know, etc. Naming the basics. Alright, so last but not least, we have the two exclusive pops. These are, of course, both of the guard, except they're the two different masked ones. So we looked at the circle one, which is the non-exclusive. Then you've got the two exclusive. You've got the Walmart exclusive, which is the square mask. And then you've got the Funko Shop exclusive, which is the triangle mask. So, very cool. Now, I know, shit, my bad. I think before I said that they were both Walmart exclusive. Nope, my bad. The triangle one is the Funko Shop exclusive. So of the three, I've got to say my favorite one is definitely the triangle one, mainly because of like the, you know, sculpt of the body, the way he's holding the gun like that, whilst the other two, it's just holding the gun by his side, which makes it looks a little silly, and also the other one just totally lacks in it. I think it looks cool because, you know, in the show very often they're holding the guns like that. So there you have it, a look at all 8 of the currently confirmed Funko Squid Game Pops. Really excited for these. I'll definitely make sure to pick up the entire set of them. Be awesome to collect them all. And I no doubt that they probably will end up making a wave 2 of Squid Game Pops, because I can only imagine that these are probably going to sell pretty damn well, I can just assume. And, you know, there's a lot of other characters that they can make. For example, they can make the red light, green light doll. They could have made Frontman. I really wish they made Frontman, you know. That was one I was really hoping for, but sadly they didn't. And there's some others they could have made. They could have made Player 101, maybe? Forgot his name, but you know who I'm done by. He's the one who's like, you know, he's the real dick. He's the one that, like, he's the one who would, like, kill a bunch of people and whatnot, you know, when he died in Game 5. Alright, so there you have it. There's a look at all of the Squid Game pop figures. Thanks for watching. Now, these are coming out in 2022, so they're still a while away, but you can pre-order these right now on a variety of websites. You can get them on Walmart. Some UK sites have them as well, which is great for me because that's where I am, and I want to make sure I get these guys. So, thanks for watching. I'll see you later.